I would like to say first that I appreciate what you had to say about hope and what you had to say about Franklin Pierce students and integrity. I am a former Franklin Pierce student. I'm a Franklin Pierce graduate. And I am a graduate of the environmental science program. And therefore, I have a lot of concerns about climate. I have a feeling you and I may differ on that.
Why would you feel that?
Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Additionally, I would like to know how you feel about this. You are standing in a community that is fighting a fracked gas pipeline through Kinder Morgan. And besides the climate issue, we're concerned about FERC, which is a fossil fuel industry-backed organization. Right now, FERC just opened a docket, and they are concerned that ISO New England thinks that our utility rates are unfair and unreasonable. How would you address these problems if you were president? Thank you so much.
Well, I would say the first one on the environment, we were put on this earth to manage the creation, not to worship it, but to manage it. And I believe that human beings do affect the climate. To the degree that it affects it, I'm not quite sure.
Thank you.
But I think we need to move forward on developing all forms of energy, including renewables, okay? Solar, wind. Now, I was in New Hampshire a couple days ago when it was really cold and the sun wasn't shining and the wind wasn't blowing. And they didn't have enough blankets to keep you warm. So we have to be realistic about our goals. Now, in our state of Ohio, where I am the governor, you know, the situation there is we have set goals that were too high. We can't meet them. So the companies have to buy fuel from out of state at high prices.
Renewable goals too high?
Yeah, it was set too high. So I've said, okay, let's set it with what we can achieve in the state. Some of our legislators would just as soon make it all go away. I said, we're not making it all go away. And if we don't come up with a reasonable number, I'm going to impose the number that can't be met, because I'm not screwing around with this. We have to develop renewables. But let me also tell you that the exciting day is going to come, and I don't know when. We need battery technology. See, because battery technology will store the energy generated from the wind when the wind doesn't blow, and from the sun when the sun doesn't shine. The development of fuel cells, you know, the process of Bob Walker, who's been a big science expert, talks to me about hydrogen. You know, these kind of breakthroughs are going to really matter. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend that has, what is that car called? What is it? The Tesla? It's a really cool car.
It's a really expensive car.
You can't afford it. Okay, it's too expensive. Wow. As those things come down the scale, it's going to be terrific. And by the way, with my daughters turning 16 now, okay, I am so anxious to get the autonomous driving vehicle. I hope that's coming like next week. Okay, and there was another thing you asked about.
About FERC?
Oh, about FERC. Well, first of all, I think you got to appoint people on to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission who are people that have got high integrity. I actually appoint people to the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. And in the past, my understanding is executives used to kind of put their finger on the scale, but I treat the Public Utility Commission of Ohio as an organization like in court. When I appoint you, I expect you to do your job, and I expect you to figure out a way in which Ohio can have low energy prices but have consistent energy in our state. And so the companies have had a hard time dealing with me for 5 years because they keep wanting me to put my finger on the scale. That's not my job. I don't get involved. I appoint the commissioners, and that's the end of it. Now, in terms of these pipelines, I'm not so sure they all ought to come in. I'm not an expert here on the pipelines. Eminent domain is an issue. You know, like I take your land, and then we had an eminent domain case in Norwood, Ohio. Basically, some developer wanted to knock everybody's houses down so they could, you know, build something else. It was ridiculous. So, eminent domain, sometimes it's necessary for the public good. You care about the public good, don't you? Okay.
I certainly do.
So, in terms of the pipelines, I can't answer all of it, but I know that one thing's going to be buried, which I think is good. The other thing, people are arguing we don't need it. It's just one company shoving things through. I don't know. But for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, people who can be sensitive about eminent domain, people who are going to be respectful of people's private property rights, and ability to listen to the public. And then at the end, you've got to make a decision. That's what you have to do when you're in something like that. In terms of your local issue, I would like to think the Siting Commission in New Hampshire should have a lot of say. I don't know if they have enough say, but they ought to have say. So, look, I can't answer it all.